right, folks, we're back. Final break of the day, final game of day 4, round 28. The marathon is reaching its final phases, and two players who have been here before many, many times matched up in Matt off stream. You were calling it Orry's last stand.
Yeah, Orry Swift's last stand. He is 3 games back with 4 to go and 3 games back of 2 players. He needs to win out. He needs to beat one of these players like 4 straight times and get just a little bit of help. But Orry must win this game to have any chance of staying alive. And for those not familiar with Orry, that is Dr. Orrin Swift over on the left. He is a finance professor at Lamar University and has been a top Scrabble player forever. He is number 1 in the state of Texas, as much as it pains me to say that, as number 2, usually in the state of Texas. But he has been hitting the books hard. He has 2 young children at home and gets to kind of stay at home dad, work from home, and just grind the word lists. And Scrabble is not even the game that Orry is best at. He's a world record holder in a bunch of different early video games for speed running. He's a video game speed runner and a world-class Magic the Gathering player who has been flown to Europe twice by Wizards of the Coast to compete in high-level Magic competition. So Orry, a man of many talents, we'll see if he can add World Cup champion to his list of accolades.
And it looks like he's wearing his teaching attire right now, Matt.
Oh, very good. Yeah, we like that.
No, just kidding. He's got his Sonic the Hedgehog shirt on, which is, definitely on brand for a speedrunner. But yeah, Orry is a fantastic player. I feel like I've had a number of extremely traumatizing losses against him where I just cannot believe that he found a way to win a game that he had absolutely no business winning, as he very, very quickly plays firm to start this game, leaving RRV probably just good enough to play as opposed to worrying about exchanging or anything like that. No real quibbles for me on this. And Jackson with a tough rack, no bingo available with those nice tiles, only the Y getting in the way. Kind of a tricky decision how to proceed for Jackson here.
Well, yeah, this one is rough for him. Wow, what a sequence. And welcome to the stream, Orry. Your first rack is FIRRRMV. Enjoy. Have fun with that. And there's your second rack, too. Have more fun on stream, Orry. But Jackson's turn is so fascinating to me. I love watching players play through these positions and just the nuance and the differences they make in the decisions we all face in Scrabble. Trains, the 6-letter AINRST, hits with like almost everything. The Y is one of the most frustrating 7s you can have. Playing just MY for 7 feels okay. Playing MAY for 16 feels okay. FRY for 10 feels okay. I have no idea what to do in this situation as Jackson. This one's hard.
It is hard. It's going to be very different depending on what he chooses. So MAY here feels a little, it feels like you're getting a bunch more points, 16 more points compared to just MY in the same spot. The thing about this, though, is that in Orry's particular case, he's going to play Devour with the weird spelling and Mayo. What a bailout that would be compared to if Jackson just plays MY. The firm's hook is actually very annoying for Orry to block easily. I guess in some cases you could expect a play going down from here, making yo to block it. But in Orry's particular case, it's not going to be that easy. So very, very different outcomes depending on which direction Jackson goes here. And as you mentioned, Matt, there are even other options like Fry, which are totally different. Not exactly sure what Orry would do after that one.
MY is also kind of a mind-gamey play. You have to wonder, is Jackson setting up the back C? Is he holding onto it and threatening a big play? Or is this a fish? Or this is really hard for Orry to address and to read into. I'm curious how Orry will respond. He's better than almost anybody at adjusting his game for what has just happened, but he's got such an inflexible rack that I think there's no adjustment that could be made. Maybe if he's got Jackson 100% pegged on an S we'll see the extension of DORMY come down to the MY. But otherwise, I don't know. I think we're still just going to see him play Devour to the R and work through ugly letters.
Yeah, he left RRV on his first move. It looks like he's getting set to leave RR once again, finally getting that V out. And meanwhile, Jackson drawing pretty nicely. Anti-Rs on the rack, probably Artisan. Maybe that's a little scary to play. Zareen. Oh, Intarsia. So, yeah. Does that even, I mean, these plays might even score similarly to Intarsia as well. So they're going to be worth considering even after Devour. But yeah, I do feel like not much Orry can do. I agree with Matt on that, except hope that he draws a little better. And what's he going to do? He just plays Ivy. Maybe he is reading this as a C setup more than he should be, Matt?
Or maybe he's trying to keep his rack in range. He knows he's about to get a ton of floaters in space with the firm spot. He expects Jackson to bingo here. Maybe he just wants to be able to threaten a counter bingo as often as possible. Maybe reading into the C. I don't know exactly what Orry was thinking there, but that's an interesting play from him for sure.
Yeah, I'll be curious. I'm sure Orry definitely want to, he'll be happy to share his thoughts, these two, during their post-game discussion, but we still have basically the entire game left to play. Let's not even think about the post-game discussion yet. Jackson is choosing his bingos to play here. I can't imagine that there's that strong of a reason not to play Zarina for the maximum score here. 79 points. Seems reasonable, and he's going ahead and doing that.
Yeah, the only question I have is why did Jackson wait just a little bit longer to make this play than he did? It just felt so immediate insta play to me. But just a couple seconds here, taking his time, trying not to make any derps. I texted Jackson after his SPC performance last week, and he said he wasn't playing the brand of Scrabble he's used to. So maybe this is something he's implemented for himself. Just do a double check. Don't rush anything just in case there is that awesome play out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I'm used to on the part of Nigel Richards, who is known to process the board with unbelievable speed. Even he, for seemingly obvious plays, will kind of sit there and just look the board over carefully for about 15 seconds on pretty much every play before playing even the simplest thing. Of course, the crazy thing with him is he will even do that for unbelievably high a degree of difficulty plays, and that's why we all love him. But Jackson potentially just working it into his turn-by-turn habit of anytime I see a play I think is clearly best, let's just spend 5 to 10 seconds thinking about, could I be wrong about that? And once he's happy and assured that, no, I don't think so, I'll go ahead and make that move. Yeah, I think it's something that he can afford to do, Matt, because he is such a fast processor, even in difficult positions.
Yeah, because he's able to play games so quickly, he's able to take a little bit more time. Those are precious seconds to some players, but Jackson, such a gifted player at the speed game as well. I think he can afford to waste the time. You got to make sure you're playing at 100%. You don't want to make those mistakes. Orry is making what looks like his best play once again. Redo is hard to pull the trigger on. You don't want to get rid of that E, and a play like DURO right here made sense as well. But Redo just scores so well, and DURO has a major back hook that it would set up as well, DUROC. Or he's not going to allow that volatility into his game. That's not his brand of Scrabble. Redo gets a thumbs up for me.
Yep, totally agreeing with that. I also agree totally with your, assessment of Orry's style. He is definitely a player who is very, very comfortable playing a defensive style. He, is somebody that I think better than almost anybody is good at assessing the risk inherent in various Scrabble positions. I think that's something that we've talked about this before, something that he carries with him in his Magic the Gathering career as well. And you see it a lot with him. And he has a decent set of tiles. But I thought Jackson was going to consider playing boho in that spot there, Matt. He goes with the much safer foe, holding onto that lead.
Yeah, wow, that was an interesting decision from Jackson. He is ahead and you'd like to preserve the lead, but that's the kind of nice little tactical setup that we'd expect him to make. Now, with two unseen S's from Jackson, he gets burned there sometimes, but that felt like a risk worth taking, knowing that he has the X and unsure about Orry. Maybe there's a read he made after redo, the fact that Orry took so long. Maybe he's got Orry pegged on S sometimes. But neat decision from Jackson. I don't think it's one I would have made, but it's one that makes sense.
Yeah, it could have been a case for calculated aggression there, holding that S. And of course, he draws another one as if to sort of hammer home, hey, you could have done this and probably been safe. But yeah, I find it difficult to quibble too much. He's got the lead. The board position is very tight right now. And, playing it safe makes a lot of sense to me. Meanwhile, Orry has Loosh set up on his rack. Curious to see where he will play this. He probably, I assume, would play it here just to create a little more openness. But I guess if he had a compelling reason, he could play the word here with the Yer hook. Is there any reason you see to play Loosh here, maybe setting up the R hook going down, Matt?
Yeah, you just said it. Loosh right here sets up Yer and strengthens your R. I feel like I would actually opt to slide this over and leave just 1 point on the board. This placement 24, the other 23. I think I like setting up the R there, but it is splitting hairs on this. This is also fine.
Yeah, this does at least have the benefit of opening a little bit more in the way of floaters that Jackson will have to address. Of course, it also happens to open a big X spot that Jackson should feel pretty comfortable plopping a word like box down. He'll worry a little bit once box goes down on the board that if Orry has an O, he can get re-overlapped pretty damaging, in response. But not something that Orry has actually drawn. On the other hand, Matt, he has drawn a blank, which Orry loves to see.
Yeah, that's interesting. He won't bingo with it this turn, but all of a sudden that makes Orry feel a lot better about this game. I wonder what he's going to do to try to open this board up. You need an open board to cash in your blanks at all. I wonder what we're going to see. He's got the opportunity to make plays down here, things like B-U-R-K. That would set up the back hook, B-U-R-K-A, holding an A. That looks really solid for Orry, but he can also get tiles out in space, plays like Buckra, B-U-C-K-R-A. That seems a little too aggressive for me, but could open up massive spots to play. I do think Burke setting up the back A, though, is a great line of approach for Orry in this situation.
Remember, too, it sets up an E. B-U-R-K-E is valid, which really opens up a world of possibilities to bingo there, in addition to, of course, the S. So Burke setting up not just your A, also an E seems like a great idea at a deficit to create a lane with that blank in hand that is going to be very, very usable with a variety of draws. So I do kind of like that choice. And Jackson, meanwhile, not getting the right draw there. I'm not remembering I think he left 4 consonants after box, right? L-N-S-S. So the W-U draw, not going to set him up very well for next turn.
If you're going to draw WU, you might as well at least get another S to go with it to soften the blow. But that's going to be an interesting next couple turns for Jackson, working through that mess on his rack. Trying to think what else Orry could be thinking about here. A couple other plays that make some sense. R-U-C-K. Man, that's a terrible R. R-U-C-K creates lines here, but they're weak lines. You'll need to end in a vowel to hit them. They do limit the damage that Jackson could do in the most damaging spot on the board. But I think in this instance, if you're Orry, you just look to open another opportunity. And hey, if Jackson plays here, maybe you punch him very hard in this line.
Yeah, it's definitely, even though Orry is down, he's going to get something in the 20-point range with any of those moves, whether it be Ruck, Burke, Buckra, Burka, even Burka into this HA could be something worth considering. I don't necessarily see a great reason to do that above any of the other plays. The point is, though, after almost any of these plays, Orry's going to get 20 points closer on the scoreboard, and then Jackson's going to struggle a little bit. I guess maybe he'll consider playing Swum and Tsarinas. I'm not really seeing anything that's that great. That's going to leave a very volatile board still for Orry to work with that blank. So this is kind of, it's going to be a nice board for him to come back on. Actually, this is kind of an argument against Ruck, which it looks like he's about to play, Matt. Ruck, not only does it make only those marginal lanes that you referred to, it also blocks off this spot, which is kind of annoying to leave open if Jackson can't address it.
Yeah, I do not like the plays through the sea, or if you're going to play one, I would play Buckra. This is the only one that makes sense. This crushing a simulation by over 3 points over any other option. I love this. Orry generally keeps things so closed, but opening things up here with the blank in tow, Orry poised to strike hard in this game. He'll need a good draw. Fun play.
He is going to get hit with a tailor-made word to dump the WU and a couple other letters off of Jackson's rack, and I'm pretty sure he's going to see it fast. Weymouth. Yep. Funny-looking word. 42 points through that A. He has it set up. That's going to be just what the doctor ordered to outscore Buckra considerably. And Matt, did I hear you gasp on Orry's draw there?
Yeah, man. I mean, the triple's going away, but that's a fantastic pull from Orry into R blank. He picks up ADEIT. He'll have triples, but we know Jackson's going to take that spot away. It's just going to be whether it's Walls or Weymouth in that spot. Still great pull from Orry, and the fact that he's pulled a bingo that plays here is going to be crucial as well, keeping this line open and this line open, as well as this to try to mount comebacks. Big pull from Orry, and we'll see one of the bingos play on top very soon from him.
2 bingos scoring 75 points with Tivy in the center of the board. Question for you, Matt. The 2 bingos, one, red bait playing into here, ending in T. The other, readmit, which creates a gigantic P hook. Is that something that Orry does on purpose to add to the volatility of this board?
Yep, it is. I think so. I mean, the problem with either one of those plays, of course, is that the 4-letter play here is going to be an absolute game changer after you string readmit or red bait in this spot. And readmit specifically, because it puts an A in this spot, allows just mammoth tiles to come down and hit that. But Orry is still a long dog in this game. You have to increase the volatility on this board, and opening up a front hook there is huge. Jackson can only block this spot well if he has an E as well, because an R is in this position here. I'm just drawing all over this board, but because there's an R in this spot, he must have an E to play underneath. He doesn't have that all the time. But looking at this unseen distribution, he does have an E almost all the time. There's like a ton of them unseen. I think readmit to pre-admit is the best choice here if Orry's confident on the word and the hook.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting because Orry, I do feel like his play of Bukra indicates that he was willing to assume some risk here. But I actually do feel like red bait in this spot, it does have that advantage. If Jackson does have an E, it so limits the damage that can be done here. And I feel like I'm surprised to see this, but I love that we're seeing this. I really thought Orry would be slightly too risk averse to go for it. Of course, we can see that Jackson has very, very good tiles and is going to respond to this with a bingo, but I don't think he'll be able to really conclusively shut down the pre-admit hook right now. At least I don't think he'll be able to do it. He could play Kringles here for 71. Maybe that's what he's going to do, just because Clingers here, even for 5 more points, is going to assume too much risk with a blank still lurking unseen to Jackson. Oh, look at this, Matt. I love it.
Yeah. Jackson doing what we've seen players do more and more. Will Anderson kind of driving this movement. And of course, I've got him in the booth, but leaving points on the table to choose the more defensive opportunity. And I love this play from Jackson. What is Orry just drawn?
Not what Orry wanted to draw. So Orry just getting back a little bit on the scoreboard, and Jackson equalizing. Orry's bingo 75 points, Jackson's 71s. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is something that I never, ever used to do. I used to really just push on every position to score the most I could and just really shoot out my way to wins. But I don't know. I just feel like I've had better results since I started caring a little bit more about board position as opposed to just the raw score of my play. I have been known to sacrifice some points there. One of the P's finds its way onto Jackson's rack, but just as fast, Orry dumping AI to balance his rack. I think it makes sense, Matt.
That was an interesting turn from Orry. I think a lot of players get impatient in this game and play AI right here, thinking, I must open and I must open right now. But AI just gets crushed by Jackson so often here. You've got massive plays that Jackson can threaten here. So Orry's saying, I will take my time. I will take away your biggest threat, and I will wait to open this board until maybe I'm in range a little bit more. Orry playing a little bit of defense there rather than just playing AI and getting obliterated. I like that decision from him.
So quickly comes down the 50-point wipe in the lower left, which looks like it would be game over under normal circumstances, except Orry in the nick of time, and this is going to come down instantly, sedation through the D of readmit for 86, just in time to bring Orry back. What will the draws be for both players here? Jackson drawing Plure, a 7-letter bingo, but Orry, will he draw that second blank and keep this thing close in, again, what we called Orry's last stand coming into this game? He needs a win desperately here.
Jackson's got an interesting turn on his hand as he's missed the blank and he's been hit with about the worst thing that could have happened. All of a sudden, this is a close game again. Jackson has to figure out if he wants to try to control this board. There's just one major bingo line left right here. There are some horrible overlaps that could happen here. Possibilities from the E, maybe FOHN plays or NS plays through here. There are a lot of marginal lines, but this one has to attract a lot of Jackson's attention. The problem is there aren't reasonable plays that are going to obstruct that spot. And so I think what we're going to see Jackson do is something that feels a little bit weird, and that's just to play either Plura or Pelau, P-E-L-A-U, in this spot. It's going to open even more lines, but also knock out some of the existing lines. It's going to put a lot of scoring pressure on as well, and that's what you're looking to do. But look at the draw from Orry. AEE-GNN blank will threaten bingos again next turn. We still have a game on our hands, Will.
The crazy thing is I'm looking like crazy for one that starts with a vowel in this lexicon. A bunch of them available in Collins, but in WoW, I'm not seeing a 7-letter word that plays here, which is a key for Orry. He's going to be grinding away trying to find a word like that, but is there anything that he's actually going to be able to play? Or maybe Plura will somehow give him something on the bottom row, Matt? Oh my God, this is brutal for Orry. He's thrilled to see that blank, but man, it would be amazing for his winning chances to get a bingo down immediately as opposed to waiting.
I looked at it. Nothing plays now, and Plura gives back nothing, but the play of Pelau also gives back nothing, actually. There's not a lot of hope. Oh, man.
Trolled. Wow. So, all right. I mean, there still is hope long term, of course. There's definitely a lot going on this board. There's still, you could definitely see stuff come down in this area that would score a lot of points. This lane is going to stay open after Jackson's next play, almost certainly. If Jackson does go ahead and play Plura right here, this is also a lane that's going to be open long term. So Orry will have some level of openness on the board, even if he's not able to bingo, which we are pretty sure he will not be able to do. So the game is far from over. He's only trailing by not even 40 points. A bingo here for him would definitely get him right back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and even if he doesn't bingo this turn, he's got the stuff to try to bingo next turn. Lines are going to stay open on this board, even if it's not all of them. That blank is going to unlock a lot of opportunity for Orry in this one. And there's still a ton of space, just completely untouched up here. Orry could make a play like Gene, set up a front A. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen yet. Orry won't bingo this turn, but he's got a lot of stuff yet to happen. What is Jackson looking to do? LEE setup?
I have no idea. I'm very curious to see if he goes. He mentioned on that turn last game when he played Leighton, and he just had kind of a brief moment where sort of his brain stopped anagramming. I feel like we know for sure that he saw Plura. I'm pretty sure he basically had it arranged on his rack. He doesn't have it now. But he's probably balking at that very same issue. If he plays Plura here now, he's created another dangerous spot. And if he's learned anything from either competing in or listening to the tales of the other games that have been played at this tournament, he must know that opening, 1 in a million lanes that could be devastating to you is something to avoid, at least right now, whatever's in the water in Albuquerque.
Or whatever's in the air or something. Yeah, the 1% seems to be hitting frequently at this tournament. So Jackson wants to make sure he makes this 100 and not 99%. But no way to do that on this turn. There's no slam dunk game winner. There's so much fog of war, so much Scrabble left to be played. I wonder if we're going to see Jackson, what you're drawing exactly, APE is a way to keep things really tight. Or APE over here is a way to shut down the board.
Even more defensive, and sets up his case R. We were talking about that with Lush earlier in the game. That's the last R unseen to Jackson. So it could be a sneaky way to every now and then you get a huge benefit from that R and you just open very little back to Orry. The issue with that play, of course, is that you take a little bit of a hit on the scoreboard. So if Orry does eventually get a bingo down, it's going to get him way closer on the scoreboard or way further on the scoreboard ahead of Jackson than it would had Jackson taken a few extra points there. That being said, I think that's a really clever and creative play on his part.
Yeah, we saw Orry with that opportunity earlier in the game, did not choose to set it up, and now Jackson may be able to capitalize on that. That's very interesting. And very interesting also the turn for Orry here, as the best lines were thwarted over on the right side of this board. Now it feels like you need to set something up. Now it feels like the correct play from Jackson with no hooks, a 3 or 4 letter word here, could eliminate almost all of your opportunities at once. Your FON H back hook, your bingos from the E. So now this is dicey. I think we're going to see Orry end up playing up into space on this turn. GENE feels very reasonable here.
Any love for, all the 4 S's and one of the 2 blanks is out? Is there any love for playing here? Maybe not Gene because it takes a T hook, but if you want to be really scary with it, what about A Gene setting up your case blank as the hook in that spot in a way that's kind of annoying? This play also gets that job done pretty effectively and keeps an E on your rack. I don't know, Matt. I kind of like this from Orry here. I think it's good calculated aggression on his part.
This is what Orry does. He frustrates you. Look how annoying that play is if you're Jackson. Like, gosh darn it, I don't have anything that I can really do about that. And it's just going to sit there and you get to fish for it all game. Crap. Orry is so good at doing this kind of stuff. You can never just slam the door on him. He frustrates you. He bothers you. He's creative, and he does crap like that. Well done, Orry.
Yeah, I think it's a great play. He is rewarded for it with the Q draw, which is going to be extremely difficult for him to shed here. Just a cursory look over the board. I'm not even seeing a good place to dump that off for a low score, Matt. The Q looks positively toxic on this board.
We call that getting shreked in competitive Scrabble.
We do?
No, we absolutely don't. But Orry just got destroyed by that draw, and he's getting destroyed again right now. 48 more for RAZE. And even if he did pull a bingo, it might not be enough for him. Oh, man, this one's just spiraling for Orry quickly.
Yeah, this is brutal. It could be so bad, and the prospects for playing this cue are so awful that maybe he has to just exchange it here. Is that possible? The problem with that, of course, is that he falls behind by so much that maybe he just can't win after he does that. But what is the hope that he retains by playing something else here? I'm finding it tough to identify a pathway, either exchanging the cue or keeping it. Brutal draw for him at a pivotal moment.
Yeah, this is a situation where you spend about 60 seconds of your clock just feeling sad, and then you try to make a play. I think exchanging the cue is like the only reasonable thing to do here. It's so bad. If you draw the U, maybe you can threaten like an enormous SQ something in this spot. So I guess it's okay, but it's so bad unless you draw that U. Oh my goodness. I don't know. Like if you do keep the Q, you have to play something like LENO and just create a bunch of space here that Jackson has to address and hope for the miracle draw down there. But if you exchange it, you just die. This sucks. And you just feel sad here.
Yeah. We do feel sad. Pretty cool idea. I don't think it works all that often of playing redon and hand, trying to draw into queso in this spot, the newly added tasty word. You need a very, very specific, I think you basically just need the U from the bag, which we know Jackson has on his rack. So that would not practically work here, but that is a super creative idea. The engine, dumb engine, wants Orry to play Olden and Phone, which is an insane looking play, getting rid of his most dangerous asset on the board and trying to draw into Kadi. That will immediately be met by Judo for Jackson, and that is a GG just as fast. So yeah, no option looking very good for Orry, and Orry's last stand looks like it's run into the impenetrable wall that is Jackson Smylie.
One final Hail Mary, and I'll give credit to the great Seth Lipkin. I was looking for plays maybe to or through the OX that he can fish for. Seth has found an even cooler one, and this is one the pharmacist here should have seen. Quinolone. Quinolone. Orry's one tile away from it right now, and that would be so sneaky as Jackson's going to be hyper-focused down here. Fish the D, draw quinolone. Maybe there's a chance. Does Orry know the 9-letter quinolone? Will Orry see this?
Keep in mind, he has to fish DL because this is already an L on the board, only one L in quinolone. But other than that, he would need the precise. He's got a chance of drawing some stuff there between this N, the 2 I's, and the U. Any permutation of, let me make it a little bit clearer what he would be going for after a fish of DL. A lot of permutations of 2 tiles that get you there. This is an example of, hey, why do we learn 9-letter words? It's pretty brutal of a process. It's already so difficult to learn the 2 through 8-letter words, but every so often you might be able to wring a little winning percentage out of a otherwise pretty stone dead game like this, if you can come up with a sequence like that. So kudos to Seth. Orry is going to exchange. I think this is a very, very natural, heartbreaking, painful move for him to make, but I think it's the right one.
Now, a few weeks ago, actually 1 week ago to the day, we saw Mac Miller face a similar situation. He made a sadness exchange and just said a prayer, and then he drew the natural castrate out of the bag, stole game 3, swept games 4 and 5, and won a national championship. Orry hasn't quite had the same level of a draw. Tendon's not going to fit in that spot. Donnert not going to play. I think Orry hasn't drawn anything helpful here.
Yeah, I think that's true. And it looks like Jackson is setting up Goer in this spot right here, potentially realizing that it scores very, very well and that maybe Orry is trying to get something through there that I need to address. Jackson doesn't have a good way of obstructing this spot that also scores points at all. Goer, 33 points on offer up here. That's going to be enough to withstand basically anything, even the hardest hitting things that Orry will have with the hook he set up at the base of the board. So this looks like a fantastic play by Jackson. And Orry, despite a decent draw, as you said, Matt, a lot of bingos that could be formed with these letters just do not fit on this board.
Man, Tendons almost fits FONS or FOHN and Sarinas, but not quite. His own play ended up blocking that. A frustrating draw for Orry after he's put the Q back. And because Jackson didn't draw it, Orry's likely to just draw the Q again after this play. Sadness.
all true. Oh man, it's tough. Orry really gave this his all. I like so many of the moves that he made in this game, but I also like so many of the moves Jackson made, and he has been so consistently good on stream. It really is a pleasure to watch both of these players, but of course we've seen Jackson in a number of these games play so friggin' well. Is it really that surprising that he's won this event 2 years running, knocking on the door of a third, with potentially only Rafi Stern standing in his way?
All right, I found it. I found the way that Orry tries to win the game. You fish for deontology. That's it. That's the one.
I don't even... Where does that even fit? Or oh, wait. Through log. Oh, my God. Very nice. You would probably have to. What if you catch Jackson with QJ on his rack or something like that? Maybe you can.
Ooh, there you go. Deontology.
That is amazing. What does he have to fish here? An N? And what does he draw? Another O?
Demonology almost. I don't know.
Yeah, do you think he's going to play phone here? Just plop his N down and make an annoying hook as well that might be a little bit better than the Geens hook? Is that something he'll do just to kind of stall, and then he fishes for deontology with that play?
That's fantastic. Yeah, do something at the bottom and try to bingo at the top. If deontology scored what a beautiful 10-letter bingo should score, I kind of feel like it should be a 100-point bonus for a 10-letter or longer play. Then maybe there's a chance. But I don't know. He's not going to see it. He probably knows the word, but won't spot the sequence. And just, I think he's going to try to open a triple here if he can. That's what Orry does.
Yeah. Maybe getting just set to play nod right here for some points, which feels like, I mean, Orry can't feel great about that. But frankly, I don't really see. I mean, yes, you could open the triple, but against Jackson, that's never working anyway. The nice thing about this play, Matt, is it makes it a little tougher to obstruct this hook and still scoring points. Maybe it would have been possible. Well, I guess there are no hooks to EN, so maybe that's just wrong. But maybe a play down from the Y that doesn't hook with anything could have been possible before that and isn't now. Maybe it's just a little protection of that hook. But let's see what Orry draws.
Oh my God.
It's
he didn't go the cue,
there.
but come on.
Yeah, brutal.
All right, so Jackson could play AJI, and that would make this game fun. But otherwise, I don't think there's much that's going to make this game fun. Orry's just got another horrific draw, as he's been having several of those this game.
Yeah, so tough one for Orry, but again, just to broken record this thing. Jackson's played great, no surprise. He's put himself in a commanding position. Maybe not commanding. He still definitely is going to have to contend with Rafi tomorrow. Almost no matter what happens, Rafi can be at most one game back of Jackson after winning this game. Or if Rafi wins against Sam Hollington, a game taking place right now, I wonder, I guess we can't spot him in the background there somewhere. I don't see him anywhere. But that game looming large, if both of those guys win, they're going to be locked in battle for most of the day tomorrow, figuring out who's going to take home 10 grand and the prize of World Cup champion.
Wouldn't that be a wonderful way to win this tournament or end this tournament? Just Jackson and Rafi play off in a best of 3 tomorrow. I think that would be great Scrabble. We saw a great best of 5 between Mac Miller and Dr. Ian Weinstein last week. That'd be a really fantastic conclusion and a dramatic conclusion to end this tournament. Rafi's last stand on stream, but we'll see. Sam Hollington has had a fantastic tournament and really seems to have turned a corner as a player. He was a solid Division I player for years, sitting in the mid 1700 range, but really seems to have turned it on the last few years. He's been playing a series of WIGPO tournaments. His rating has jumped over 150 points in just a few years, and with his performance here, he's threatening to break 2,000. Just a fantastic job from Sam Hollington. I hope if Rafi loses, I hope we get to see him at least once on stream tomorrow, because he deserves a lot of kudos for his performance here.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of a fluke that he hasn't been on the stream yet. It just feels like we've always had some other incredibly juicy matchup to prioritize. But yeah, it's surprising, and I'd love to watch him play. And it's agonizing to only get to watch one game each round in depth like this. But who knows? Maybe someday we'll have eyes in the sky and looking at literally every game that's being played on the top boards of these events. We can only dream of the content. I'm just stars in my eyes as I imagine the content. Actually, I'm a little scared of that, Matt, because I already feel like I have a backlog of like 10 YouTube videos I want to make over the last month's worth of Scrabble content.
Well, fortunately, we have you. We have Mac Miller. We're going to get some videos made on it. But yes, this is a tournament that deserves many, many videos from such fantastic games we've seen across the way. Jackson playing Juba, I think he realizes the worst thing that could possibly happen is I draw the Q and I sit on the J and something terrible happens in this game. So I'm going to play Juba here, get rid of the J, and know that I can at least jettison the Q with QI in most instances, wisely not emptying the bag. That play does everything Jackson needs it to do. And as he pulls those last tiles out of the bag and realizes Orry has a terrible rack, Jackson's got to know he's got this one.
Yeah, not a ton of places to play that Q. I guess I'm looking at this one right here. Pretty easy. Hard to imagine Orry will obstruct that. Is there anything else I'm missing in terms of Q playability here? I don't know. Could Orry kind of try to, not that it would win him the game, but maybe he would try to take that spot out and just create an annoying end game situation. Jackson up by way more than enough points for it to matter.
Yeah, I think you can execute a Q stick here from Orry's perspective. I think it's just the QI spot. So even if you just play like SET, maybe a Q stick, but Orry's going to swing for the fences one more time. Wonder what he is fishing for.
Solvent.
Solvent, that's it. And he'll get an E instead. Story of the day for Orry.
Yeah. So Jackson with just the one spot for the Qs, probably likely to play that right now. No O to come for Solvent right here, which would be kind of annoying for Jackson to block and also shed the Q. So it's not to be for Orry. Jackson correctly playing off that Q. And back over to Orry. No bingos for him to close the gap. Let me get these scores updated for you. Another win for Jackson, Matt, to close the day out. It's going to be a barn burner of a day tomorrow.
Friggin' Scrabble giving us one more incredible end game. Yeah, QI is Jackson's one of Jackson's two best end games, but there's another one that ends up just as well. That's fantastic. There's another puzzle for you, those of you at home. If you haven't done enough Scrabble today, figure out, a little spoiler there, but figure out Jackson's other optimal end game. Assume QI is unplayable and figure this one out for him or something. I love Scrabble. Can always get puzzles even in dumb games.
Yeah, you mentioned it before, Matt, talking about how you really can get some incredibly fun end game puzzles, even in games where it just doesn't matter to the outcome. It's great practice. Orry playing svelte here. I don't think with very little time left on his clock, he's not going to be that worried about permuting endgame sequences out to the absolute best of his ability. And yeah, this game hurtling along to its conclusion. Looks like they're already post-morteming about this game before it's actually over. So I don't know whether it's unprecedented to cut to the overhead mic during the game, but I'm tempted, Matt, to do it in this instance to hear what they're saying.
It looks like it's settled now. You never know when you're going to get that fun stuff. But yeah, Christian, if it's fun, just shut us up and put on the overhead mic. Yeah. If not, we'll watch Jackson go through the rest of this end game.
He's getting set to play Doit parallel to the Q. That seems pretty reasonable. Getting 4 of his 5 tiles off the rack and scoring 20 points. That looks like the best he can do. And that'll give Orry an opportunity to play his N in the phone spot. Almost certainly should come down pretty fast. And that would do it. Orry's got 26 seconds to find that spot. Let's see if he does. Oh, the answer is no, he won't. It's kind of surprising, but it doesn't matter one bit to the outcome. I'm waiting. Come on. Not giving him his points. Actually, I'm just going to assume. All right. Game over. Final score, 465 to 352 in Jackson's favor. I think they're going to have a good discussion here.
Where'd that keep? Shit. D-U-R-R-O? D-U-R-R-O? Really? I made a mistake. I should have played Devour. I saw it. Keeping R. Yeah. But I just got too scared with the Superfish. Dude, yeah. I didn't think you were going to score $1 billion there, but I feel like the Y-Fish is like, there's almost no point in defense because my range is so strong. I don't do that with anything less. I was actually hoping you just completely missed, which was possible. I mean, and you had to fish again. Mm-hmm. Damn. I didn't have you on a blank, so I was like, okay. I almost never keeps a blank. Right, and so I was like, okay, you can miss. But then you have D-O-R-R-U and you're going against the... Yeah. Play. Yeah, I made some questionable plays. Buckrow kept R blank. I figured a blank. Lush kept R, I think. Yeah, that's cool.
hard turns, even though I was in a good position, like really tough positions.
All right, let's see if I missed. I saw Pangene. No, that's the only 7 in here. That was my best shot when I played Gene. Angeen, but it just didn't.
Yeah.
I was trying to go through HA or NS here or something, but I had a few shots to like just throw it wide open, but there was so much garbage in the bag.
I know you don't want to reach his bag too far.
Yeah.
You can't bank on me having the J, Q, and
I just couldn't figure out what to do with the Q. I had to exchange it. I had QLDONE blank. And like I can play Don E and keep QL blank.
Things there's no U's to draw, so it's like your blank is dribbled as a U. It sucks.
I either have to try to bingo with the Q or sticky with the Q.
Yeah, the thing is like given this has to be an S, there's no S's, so your blank can't be an S and a U, and you really want a big bingo. I don't think you can afford to have the Q there. Keep it. I should get the big game. So.
Yeah, I don't think I missed a bingo. Oh, Matt sent me a very nice message.
What do you say?
Just got destroyed.
Wow.
Thank you, Matt.
Wow, come on. Come on. What do you mean just got destroyed?
This was pure skill. I had no chance.
Pure skill. I hope I didn't miss a bingo with the Y.
This was just horrible. AIEST with AI.
Huh?
I had AIEST with this.
Yeah, I figured you had something like that.
And I'm just like, come on.
You should have laid down the I first and slowly played the A.
Why?
Psychological torture.
Oh, for QI, I get it.
Sorry, I always bag you, Orry.
I hate
every single time.
I hate you. I have to play blind for like 28 points. Yeah, readmit may have been wrong. That was what it came down to. I could play a 7 over here, you know, but I'm down, so I wanted to open.
Yeah.
Oh, I was on the good. Yeah.
Well, I just played Whammus, so my range is pretty wide. I tried to take a while with Whammus to make you not think I had another S.
I don't understand.
Like, if I slap down Whammus in 2 seconds, you might think I have another S, which I did. But it took a little while to make you think I did.
Honestly,
All right, so you weren't reading it.
like, no, that wasn't even in my mind whatsoever. Didn't even care if you had another S.
True.
Yeah.
God damn.
Oh, I forgot to check this rack. R blank. I thought I might bingo to a C. No. God damn it.
My butt ruler, no less. It's tough.
Yeah, I should have just played Devour on that second turn.
Yeah. Or Vum. Vum's actually not bad.
No, you played the Y. I was gonna play Vum.
Never mind.
Vum was definitely my play.
Never mind.
All right, looks like they're winding things down here. Orry agonizing over that first move, Matt, of Devour. We were a little taken aback by Ivy. It seems like he's regretting that one now.
Yeah, that was a tough turn. Orry breaking down his rationale. I didn't have you pegged on blank. I thought it was possible that you just missed entirely on that. So I think Orry had him pegged on something like Satine Satire Retina as a leave in that range. But I don't know. An interesting decision, one Orry regrets in hindsight, and certainly one that would have changed the trajectory of the game. But hindsight's always 20/20. You just make the plays that your gut tells you are correct, and then if you lose, you sometimes question them. But Orry definitely questioning that pivotal turn in this game.
Well, other result coming in from a key game previously, Rafi Stern defeating Sam Hollington in round 28, and that leaves Jackson Smylie and Rafi Stern at 21-7, heading into the final 3 rounds tomorrow in the WoW division. Both of those two 3 games up, and the spread tiebreaker up on the next closest players in the standings. So we might be getting a lot of Jackson and Rafi squaring off tomorrow, which would be pretty epic. But of course, the Collins division also incredibly knotted up at the top, still waiting on a couple of those last round results to come in. It's going to be brutal, Matt, figuring out what to broadcast tomorrow. But either way, both divisions are hurtling towards a dramatic conclusion.
Man, tomorrow's going to be so interesting. I don't know what we're going to show you next, but I do know it's going to be awesome high-level Scrabble between some of the best players in the world and a ton of prize money at stakes this tournament. $10,000 for the winners. I don't know what that converts to in Nigerian, but I'm sure in either case, it's going to be a lot of money for whoever wins this tournament.
Yeah, that's a lot of millions of naira. But yeah, it is just going to be epic tomorrow. I can't wait. And Matt, you're going to be joining me for that as well. I really appreciate you being alongside me throughout the entirety of today and yesterday afternoon. And any final thoughts as we anticipate those climactic 3 rounds tomorrow?
Well, we appreciate you and your vocal cords holding up through 4 days of COVID and commentary. It has been a superhuman feat for you. So we appreciate you holding on and staying on board. Tomorrow is going to be so interesting. Let me give one thank you to everybody who's tuned in and watched us today, hanging out with us still even now after the drama's ended. We only stream these things because people tune in and engage with us. And the chat makes us seem a lot smarter than we actually are. So thanks to all of you watching along at home, playing along at home, and keeping us entertained and company through all of this. Tomorrow's going to be so much fun, and I'm excited to be back for it.
Thank you very much, Matt. A huge shout out goes to the miraculous substance of Wegmans brand honey. I've been chugging that like crazy between every round. I now understand all the people who say we need to save the bees. I get it now. I didn't before, but I do now. So thanks to all that honey I've been chugging. But yes, it's been a blast. And I cannot wait to see how it all winds up in the final 3 rounds tomorrow. So with that, we're going to call it a stream today. See you tomorrow, same time, same place for the conclusion of the 2024 Word Cup.